Hey everybody, Ralph Havens here, autoimmuneanswers.com. And this morning, I was thinking, why is it that some people succeed and some people fail? And I've been talking to lots of people lately, and it's been really cool to hear people's hopes and dreams and what they really want to get out of life. And it just touches my heart, and it goes really deep when somebody goes deep with that and figures out what it is they really want in life and why it's so important. And yet there's some people that just don't go for it. And I was like, why is that? What is the thing that makes it where some people really go for it and really get what they want in life, and other people don't? Really good people doing really good things, but they're not getting what they want. You know, a year goes by and then another year, and they still want the same thing. And I was thinking about it. You know, I years ago, it was God, when was it? It was a long time ago. I had a one room, really it was two rooms where we did therapy, and it was in San Diego. And I had a physical therapy practice. It was even before I started doing the medical intuitive work or any of that kind of stuff. And I think I just started doing some of that stuff, the work of integrative manual therapy. And I had one therapist, really wonderful person named Hanya, and we hardly had any clients. And we went to tea all the time. There was a really cool tea place and bookstore right next door. We were always drinking tea and thinking of what we wanted and dreaming stuff. And she was really cool and very energetic. And then one time in December, you know, my girlfriend of 10 years had broken up with me, and I had this house in San Diego, and I'd always wanted to live in the Pacific Northwest. And I was talking to her, and we had 5 client visits that week. I remember five slots between the two of us of people that were coming to see us. And we're sitting around drinking tea, and I thought, you know, I think I'm going to just sell my house. I'm going to move to Portland, you know, get a job as a physical therapist, just do that. And she said, you know, you could always go rent that other place that's just down the road. It was a bigger place, and it was like twice as much rent, and it was wheelchair accessible. And I had a couple of doctors that had said that if they could send their clients that had Medicare, they would send me more people. And so I thought, you know, I could always just quit. And so I thought, what the heck? So what did I do? I didn't have the money. I put it on a credit card, and I started the next month, January, I paid twice as much rent for twice as big a place. And little by little, over the next few months, these 2 doctors started sending me more people. And so there I was going along, and I moved, I think, that credit card bill over to my house. I put it on a home equity line of credit, and going along, and I had hired another therapist. And so I had a part-time therapist this time that was working with me, a physical therapist this time. And every month I was looking, and every month was in the red a little bit. Like every month I was spending more money than I was making. It's like I would have been better to just not be working, because I was spending money that I didn't have. So more and more money was going on my credit card, and more money was going on my home equity loan. And I kept going. And one of my friends who was also taking the medical intuitive training with me, I was still spending a lot of money on continuing education. And she says, you know, well, Sheila, in her boss in Los Angeles, has a really zooming physical therapy practice in Los Angeles, and you should just use her consultants. So I thought, you know, she is doing really well. And so there was these big time consultants in Los Angeles, in Burbank, actually. And so I talked with them, and it cost $25,000 to work with them. $25,000. I didn't have it. I was in the red every single month. And I thought, let's do it. Let's do it. So I spent $25,000 and agreed to 9 months of training with these guys. And I had to drive to Burbank, and had to take classes and spend hotel money and then start implementing all this stuff that I was getting from my consultant. You could call her a coach, consultant, and things started to go better. So now we started to see that, wow, we were getting new clients, and we were learning how to talk to doctors, and people were starting to send us people. And it started to go, we were starting to be in the black a little bit. And so after 9 months, they had the next program, and it was another $25,000. And I thought, let's do it. So I spent that. So the short version of this story is over 5 or 6 years, I spent $150,000 on the tuition alone. And it also, I spent a lot of money on airfare, because a lot of the conferences were in Colorado Springs and then in Miami and in the Yucatan. And on one time I was on an actual ship, one of those cruise liner ships that they had the class on, and 10 days in the Caribbean. And so I spent a ton of money on travel and hotel and training. And I even started taking my staff, because my staff was starting to grow. And every month we were a little bit in the black, to Burbank and get trained up. So I had a PR person that would go visit doctors and get me appointments with doctors. And I would go talk to the doctors in the way that I was instructed to. And I was terrified. I remember the first time I went to have a doctor visit, my PR person got me a visit with an orthopedic surgeon, big time orthopedic surgeon, in San Diego, and it was Friday, and I was sitting in his waiting room waiting, and he was like an hour late to see me, but I actually did get in. I can't believe she got me an appointment with this really busy guy, and he wouldn't even look at me. He just kept doing his paperwork, and you could tell as he was thinking, like, how the hell did this guy get in to see me? And I kept using my talking to him about stuff, and by the end we left laughing about how Medicare doesn't pay, and there's lots of problems with the system, and we said goodbye for Friday, had a good weekend, and he became a friend of mine, and he started sending me more people, and I saw him. He always drove by my office from Mission Hills into his office, and so I would see him when I would walk to work for years, and he was my friend, and he sent me people, and he respected me, and so I started to really learn this game of how to be a business person and have a physical therapy practice, and was becoming an integrative manual therapy practice. And then some stuff happened, and some of those people that were working for me that I trained so well left for a variety of reasons, the front office people, and I hired new people. And the short version of that story is that I had a few people stealing from me and falsifying the statistics that we were running the business on. And I thought we were in the black, but we were in the red. And things started falling apart. And I was having to take $4,000 out every couple of weeks to pay for my payroll. And yet we were busy with therapists. And I'm like, how can we be so busy and we're in the red? And so I started to piece it together. And finally I was just like, I got to quit just blowing money like this. And so we decided to fire everybody except for one therapist and one front office person, and move to a smaller place and start to do it like that. And then, I got sick and a lot of health challenges, and I couldn't run, and I had terrible bone pain, and a lot of depression. And so that story is, I found the answer and got well, and that spurred us on to move to the Pacific Northwest. Now, when I came up here, I had no idea what to do. Like, I knew I didn't want to do the insurance game anymore, and for physical therapy, and I didn't know what to do. And so we started this whole process, and you guys have heard some of the story of moving up here and having to figure stuff out. And I actually slept outside for a year, and I went through a really hard time. I mean, I was sleeping outside, and we couldn't sleep in our house because it was toxic, and we had no more money, and we were on credit cards again. And I thought, what the hell have I done with my life? And I had to learn this whole nother part of how to use mindset and energy and spirit, and also how to learn how to grow a business and do this new business that I didn't even know existed years ago, of how to do a business over the internet and have people from all over the world and do distance healing sessions and really help people get what they want in life. And the thing is, if I would have waited for the version of life that I have now, if I would have waited to be this internet business person and this distance healing person and to have it all figured out, this version of my my business and life, if I would have waited, it wouldn't be here. It wouldn't be here. All those failures and jumping and then succeeding or not succeeding, all those things were the training. The challenge was the training. And so when I think of, like, golly, how can I help people bridge this gap, like from where they are to where they want to be? There's a lot of things that are needed, I've found. And And so, my Enlighten Up and Get What You Want course has all that built into it. And I was thinking, how can I make this where people that join, we've had some great results with it. And you can read some of the success stories and look in the videos about the success stories. But how come is it some people are still just playing on their phone games or checking Facebook all the time or not changing their diet or not doing their homework? Why is that? And I think it's because it's easier to do that. Like if you're someone that wants to do something big and have a life that, you talk about, and it's like, wow, I want to get my health back and I want to have a better relationship with my daughter. And I want to do this healing work at a distance too. And I want to figure this out and have a big life. And I'm doing all this energy stuff, but I'm not getting what I want. I was thinking, what do you need? And so, I figured that part out for us. And for the people that really do all these parts, they can have a big life and they're getting big lives. And so that's what the Enlighten Up and Get What You Want class has been all about. The book, the training, all the modules, all that stuff that gives training. And there's been some live calls as part of that. And the End Anxiety Forever book about how to shift that part and how to get healthy, the health version of that. And I've even put 4 years of once a month trainings, video trainings in there so people can have a session anytime they want, full hour session as often as you want. And at one point I was even offering one-on-one sessions with me, and that one at some point I might bring back. Right now, that one's a bit on hold, but if it's something that might come back in a bit. But what I thought was, if people could have a question and answer session on a regular basis, once a week or once a month. I haven't figured out exactly how often we're going to do these, but I thought let's increase the number of group sessions where with the Enlighten Up and Get What You Want course, every month, might be more often than that, a Q&A session, an hour session where you could ask me what's going on and we could figure out what's missing in your thing. Is it something with you don't know what you want, or is it more like you don't know the strategy, or there's certain skills that you need, or the people you're around, you want to surround yourself with the right people, or there's some deep internal block that needs healing. What's your thing that's holding you back from going from here to here? And so that's what I'm going to be adding in. And if you're interested in learning about that and hearing what it's all about, I've got a really cool PDF, couple of PDFs and a video that can help you start getting started with this. But if it's something that where you're like, I do want this other life, I want to get this, and you failed and tried all those sorts of stuff. But what I found is everybody fails. Everybody fails. That's part of the game, Everybody fails. The thing is, is it going to be something that you use as training? All these failures, maybe even a success, and then like with me, it became what looked like a failure. Lost a whole business in San Diego. Are you going to use it as training, and how would you do that? And so, I think that's why some people don't end up getting what they want, because it's just easier. The people that it's easier to not go. It's easier to stop. It's easier to try a little bit, and they're like, no, I can't do it. Nope, it wasn't for me. Oh, well, but if it's something that's like the vision is big enough and you really want to go for it, I can help you. And it's okay if you don't. But if it is something that you're interested in, like learning, and I can help walk you through it, then go ahead and pop into our world, the ralphhavens.com/enlighten up, and take a look and see if it's something that sounds useful to you. And if it is, join me. And it's going to be great to help you find what's in the way of what you want in life. So a few thoughts this morning. I've got a whole week that I do. I'm starting a new thing pretty soon. I'll be telling you all about it. But right now, what I'm talking about is the Enlighten Up and Get What You Want Masterclass. And if you want that and some live Q&A calls to where you can get really clear on what's going on with you, then join me, ralphhavens.com/enlighten up, and I will see you all on the inside. All right, everybody.